Let's make l'chaim and let's get started.
I'm coming from a big Guinness area now.
Yeah, where?
In 770, I was like half a day, and
oh wow,
it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable, great. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol ni b'dvarim.
Amen.
L'chaim.
Mazel tov to Adam for having baby.
Yes, mazel tov to Adam Rhodes and to his wife who had a baby girl.
Girl.
Let's start. There's a terrific thing for today, which is that it's brought in the Sforim HaKadoshim that the month of Iyar is an acronym for the pasuk Ani Hashem Rofecha. I am the God who heals you. So I don't know what kind of medications the FDA is approving or not approving, and vaccinations, and we all wish with our whole heart that Israel maybe will manage to beat the race and come out with some vaccine, and hopefully it'll be hopefully that there'll be plenty of people in the world that will boycott it and not take it. Like our good friends in Persia and so on. But here is a recipe for a healing. You don't need Dr. Zelenko. You don't need Sean Hannity. You don't need Ami Magazine. It is potent and it's powerful, and it's already approved. It's already sitting in your hand. And the sources were already sent to you by Rabbi Yoel Brief. Thank you very much. And let's get straight to it. Before we get to the Rebbe Sicha about the healing and what it really means, and to unleash the power of the healing in Chodesh Iyar, just a technical issue which I'd like to deal with first: a question and 3 answers. There is a machloikis in the Shulchan Aruch. Some opinions say that you don't write a get in the month of Iyar. Why? Because of this dispute how you write Iyar, Aleph Yud Yud Reish or Aleph Yud Reish. So Ani Hashem Rofecha is l'chayda with 1 Yud. Is l'chayda with 1 Yud. And we write, we hold that Amos says that we do write Gittin in the month of Iyar, and we write it with 2 Yud, which goes well with the Kabbalistic understanding, which is Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Rachel, the 4 legs of the Merkava, which we'll talk about in another shir hopefully this week. I hope we get to it. But be it as it may, we write it with 2 Yudin. That's the halach in Hilchas Gittin and Even HaEzer Siman Kuf Chavav. So that doesn't go well with what we're saying, Ani Hashem Rofecha, which is only 1 Yud. So there's 3 answers for it. One that Rebbe gives answer, very simple answer, because when you sound the sound, if you say Iyar with 1 Yud and 2 Yudin, you can't hear the difference. Iyar, Iyar. You heard the difference? I didn't hear the difference. There is no difference. It's only how you write it. So the sound is the same thing. But there is 2 other answers, fancy answers. In fact, I asked a question at the table, and my wife said, "What's the kasha?" She gave me the answer. And then I found a taka that Rebbe once gave this answer, and earlier the Minka Cheruv had Abba Tzaddik Mammunkash gave this answer, a brilliant answer, a really terrific, brilliant. And before that, I'll bring you an answer also from the Chassam Sofer. And let's first, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's learn the Gemara. Then we will learn the Chassam Sofer. The Chassam Sofer brings a terrific mathematical algorithm, but it will help you that how to never forget anything you learned. I'm not kidding. There was a song at the Farbrengen that I wanted to sing. My Zayda always loved the song. I started the Farbrengen, Achron Shepesach, with the song, and then at the end of Farbrengen, I couldn't remember the song. So next day by Shachris, I Zecher Av Tov Chiyabiru, and I said it with all the kavana, and it came straight out. It came straight out. I la da di dam, I la da di dam, I la da di da di da di da di dam, I la da di dam, I la da di dam, I la da di da di da di da di dam. Hey hey, la 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 da di da. Hey, da 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 di dam. When my Zayd used to sing it, you knew that soon he's going to be doing a somersault on the table, and tomatoes and XL will be flying around the room. I la da di dam, I la da di da 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 di da di dum. Hey 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 ya 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 di da 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 di da 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 di da. Hey da 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 di dum. I la da di dum. I la da di da 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 di da di dum. L'chaim l'chaim. Okay, let's get started.
So listen to music.
So
listen to music.
Can we do some virtual coolest?
I change the camera.
Okay, if you have the source sheets, that's good, and if not, I'm just going to read it and translate it. That's fine as well. The Gemara says like this. It's connected to Hashem. Actually, someone asked on the Sunday, but someone asked this recently on Chol Pesach about the healing and exercise and therapy and so on. The Mishnah says, a person is not allowed to do exercises on Shabbos. I'm not going into practical halacha now, what you could do, what you can't do. You're not allowed to stand in the tub, in the sand. They have these terrific tubs like you have in next to Tveria, Chamas Geder, where they have these fumes from under the ground that stinks. I mean, it smells like, rotten eggs, but they're very healthy for you to go into those baths and to stick your feet and to body into that sand. So on Shabbos, you're not allowed to do it because it's healing on Shabbos, and that's Xer Chazal not to do that on Shabbos. Rashi says, the sand is salty and it heals. Says, the best days is 21 days in the year that you should go into those tubs. It's terrific. And Shavuos is one of those days. Which days? Is it 21 days and the last day is Shavuos, or 21 days and the first day is Shavuos? The Gemara says, Shmuel said, Kula Shakaini, all kinds of drinks, healing that they have. They used to have these drinks to heal all kinds of diseases. If you really want to do it and you want to be healed, the time to take these drinks is from Pesach until Shavuos. In Pesach till, so maybe it's better, and maybe really when we say 21 days with Shavuos, the first day is Shavuos and the 21 days continue. It doesn't have a conclusion about that. But when it comes to drinking the medicine, it's between Pesach and Shavuos. Some Sofar is going to say it means Chodesh Iyar, and since we're already learning the Gemara, I'll do a few more lines. The furgaisa, this type of Umaya, the muskis, and these baths from the muskis. That's what ruined the lives of them. Rashi says they got so they got busy in pampering themselves of good wine and good baths, and they stopped learning Torah, and that's what brought to their destruction. Rabbi came to this place, and he got drawn into the good wine and to the good baths. The Gemara has a longer, Bedish is a longer story. Rabbi Chamazake passed away, and he was one of the 5 prized Talmuds in the Pirkei Avos, and he was the most brilliant one. And he went home, and his wife said, "Who has to go? The mice go to the bread, or the bread goes to the mice? They need you. Let them come to you." Well, they never came to him. And he sat there and he became rusty and his learning was forgotten. And the Gemara says, so it was so bad. Also, when he came back to his friends, he came to and he read the Torah. Instead of reading the Pasha, which is the first mitzvah in the Torah, which is to sanctify son, which was said in Pasha's boy, their hearts became deaf, fatunkelt, darkened. The Rabbanan prayed and his Talmud came back. We see from this Gemara a remarkable thing. You think you forget? You think it's out? It's out? It's lost? There is no such a thing as lost, as we know from the story of the Maral. We know the story of Reb Chaim Rappaport, the first story in Likutei Deburim. that there is a special kavon in Zecher Avtuv Chayabiyo in Ashrei. When you say it in the presence of a man, he will remember everything he experienced from the day he was born. What happens is, it's in our brain, but we have a hard time retrieving it. The Alter Rebbe says that even if you learn Torah and you forget, your neshama never forgets. And Mashiach will come, you will remember everything. The problem is you can't retrieve it. You can't get to that information, but it's there. It's always there. Therefore, the Alter Rebbe says even someone that learns and forgets shouldn't be despondent. Keep on learning. Don't worry. It's going in there in the box, and it's not going out. It's not falling out. It doesn't get lost anywhere. It doesn't get lost in the Iyar or somewhere in the belt while you're driving. It doesn't go flying out of your truck. It sits there. The problem is that you can't retrieve it. But don't worry, one day you'll be able to retrieve it. And we see here in the Gemara, Mama Sharai for this, he forgot everything he learned. And then they asked Rachamim, and what happened? Hod Talmud, he came back. He didn't relearn it. It was that he was able to retrieve the information that he lost the connection to it. Okay. Now let's go to the Chasam Sof. As I said, the Iyar is Ani Hashem Rofecha, but l'choira Ani Hashem Rofecha is Aleph Yud Reish, but we paskin that you're supposed to spell Iyar with 2 Yuds, and there's 3 answers to explain this problem. There's the answer Chasam Sofer and the Minka Cheruv, and incidentally he was machavan to my wife's teretz, and then there is and then there is the teretz that the Rebbe gives. Okay. Let's do first the Chasam Sofer. If you have the copies that Rabbi sent out, you could look at it. Otherwise, I will read it and I will translate it. Zok the Chasam Sofer in the Chidushim in Shemesach Shabbos on that page 9. He says, "Kula shakayne med bechina v'adatzerta." From Pesach until Shavuos is the good time to take this drink, these medicine drinks. Rabbi Lazar Roch Aka Talmud Kom Lameker Besifrei Boy Lamikra Chodesh Zalomar Acheresh Libam. What does it mean? It means that this month of Iyar is the month of healing. There's 2 Yud. So don't worry, I got one for that too. David was sick and he was healed, and he said, which is Iyar Aleph Yud Yud Reish. Don't worry, I got you covered both sides. That's the answer of the Chasam Sofer. So either way, you want to spell it with 1 Yud or 2 Yuds, either way it means healing. Since we're already at a terrific story in the Gemara, he says a word from Reb Shimshon Asterpola. I know you know a lot of jokes from Hershela Asterpola. You know, like they say the story of Hershela, that when he was a little boy, his father sent him out to buy wine for Kiddush. So he said, "Could you give me some money?" So his father said, "Kunst to buy wine with money. Let me see if you could produce wine without money." So he went to the marketplace, no problem. And the Friday night, his father said, "Where's the wine?" He said, "Kunst to make Kiddush with wine. Let me see you make Kiddush without wine." So anyway, for some reason, the city Astrapolo became, synonymous, just like Chelam. Chelam, there were a lot of very wise Yidden that lived in Chelam, actually. But it became, in the Jewish press, it became synonymous with foolish people. The same thing, Astrapolo. But anyway, it was a choshev, a Jewish town, and there was a famous Jew. His name was Reb Shimshon Astrapola. Reb Shimshon was the Rav in the city of Polnoa. He was one of the great, most celebrated Kabbalists that ever lived. The Rebbe quotes him all the time, and all G'dai Yisrael quote him. He, in the year 1648, in the Gzeres Tach V'Tach, when Bogdan Chelmanitsky, Yamach Shemoy V'Zichroi, when there was the uprising of Cossacks, and obviously the first targets were the Jews, and Achmon al-Itzlan, Jews were slaughtered all over Ukraine in the most gruesome way. The repeat for that would only be with the Nazis, Yamach Shemam, about 200 years later. I mean, 300 years later. The Reb Shimshon was at that time in the city of Polnoa. He asked that everyone should put on tachrichim and talaisim. They came to the shul and they were singing while they all got killed, everyone to the last one, and Reb Shimshon included. So he's also called HaKodesh Reb Shimshon of Astrapola. There's many Sforim that he wrote, and there's also a lot of Vertlach, very sharp Vertlach that are said in his name. Kom lemikre besifri. Kosev besvonim mishem agon mareinu harav shimshim astrapol zecher tzadik lebroch. He writes like this. Halt a little cup, maybe take a pen and paper, you write down the numbers, but it's really worthwhile to go through. Sar shel shikcha, riv shmoy. There is an angel that makes you forget stuff. His name is Riv. Riv means to argue, and Riv is also numerical value 212. B'shema memuna ala zikoren, and the angel that his job is to help you remember stuff is Dezach. His name is Dezach, which is also the gematria kale, which is kindness, as the numerical value of 31. Okay, so the good guy is 31, and the bad guy is 212. The good guy is Dezach, which means pure, and the bad guy is Riv, which means argument. If you take the words Chodesh Hazelachem and the second letter in each one, so Chodesh Hazelachem is Dezach. Instead of having Dezach, which is memory, he went unfortunately the other way. He said Acheresh Hoya Libum, which is Reishud Beis. Instead of being involved with the angel of memory, unfortunately got involved with the angel of forgetfulness. Venida, the Tumas Mitzrayim Shu Kofa. The Tumas Mitzrayim is called Kofa. Kofa is a certain venom called Kofa. The Gemara says that the motor has a certain venom called Kofa, and that's why we have to dip it into charoises. That was the theme that we spent last year around Pesach time, in that theme. Kofa, which is 181. The minim motor. Shetzorech lamatke b'charoises mishum Kofa kemavur bepedek arve psach. Tim toisef mispar kuf pe alef al dezach. If you put together 181 and 31 is oile reshit base 212. Shu shikha. The problem is that the Tumas Mitzrayim drags down the Kedusha of this Malach of memory, and together they become Riv. But we have to separate them. We have to dip the Morar and Charoises in order to separate them, to have the Geulas Mitzrayim. And the Shikha was taken away from them. The day of getting out of Mitzrayim is connected to memory. That's when they got the first mitzvah, which is the malach, which is associated with memory, which is Dezach, which means pure. They were in Mitzrayim 210 years. Forgot the Yosef for 2 years, and unfortunately sat in jail for an extra 2 years. So says that Shimshon Astrapol, this was the greatest kindness that Jews could ever have. Had he remembered Yosef and spoken to Paroi about it immediately when he came out of jail, so what would have happened is that the Jews would have then down to Mitzrayim 2 years earlier. They would have been, instead of 210 years, would have been there 212 years. 212, that's terrible. 212 is the angel of forgetfulness. They would have been in the world of forgetfulness. Through his forgetting, they were remembered. Because he forgot, Yosef wasn't mentioned until 2 years later. So his brothers came down to Mitzrayim 2 years later. Instead of being there for 212 years, they were there for 210 years. Had they chas v'shalom been there for 212 years, they would have went into the world of forgetfulness. And that's the bezem merumas v'loy zocher tzar hamashkenas Yosef ishkacheu daikra. That the shikha was only for the goyim. Aval yisrael niskaru l'toiva. Okay, a little bit went off on a tangent. It's a beautiful word from Shimshon Astrapol about the angel of remembrance, and angel of forgetfulness, and about the Tumas Mitzrayim, which has to do, and a little bit more will be later in this next piece that we're going to learn from the Minkat Sheruv. Now let's turn to the Mincha Saluzah. So again, to a question that Iyar is written with 2 yuds. So sometimes says, I don't care how you write it, 1 yud, 2 yuds. I have a Rosh Tevis for either way. Either it's Ani Hashem Rofecha, if it's 1 yud, if it's 2 yuds, is Oiva Yeshuva Yevoy Shudaga. Either way, Iyar has to do with healing. Let's go to Minchas Loser. So the Minchas Loser Dr. Zay. Okay. I'm also looking at my at the copies that I got on my phone. Okay, so let's see the Minchas Loser in Shar Yisachar. He says like this. First, he has a beautiful shtickle Torah and a chodesh Zalachem. He says like this: the month of Iyar is Yisshachar because the first month Nisan is associated to the 12 months is connected the 12 tribes, and the first month is Yud, and the second one is Yisshachar, as they brought the Karbanos in the Beis Hamikdash in the inauguration of the Beis Hamikdash. Skip the brackets. He's like a donkey. He saw the restfulness that is good. And the land was pleasant. And he put his shoulders for heavy load, and he took upon himself the taxation of servitude. I mean, the pasuk is a contradiction from the beginning to the end. The he liked to he likes to sit on the beach in Miami. So then, why is he which one does he like? He likes to sit on the beach and rest, or he likes to work hard and be in servitude? The answer is that they're doing Torah. So, I know a lot of people tell me, Rabbi, I'm jealous of you. You live a Gan Eden. I must say, I can't disagree. I do live a Gan Eden. The person sits and learns his whole life. You're living mamish in Gan Eden Elyon. You're living mamish in Gan Eden Elyon. But there is, you know, if you go to work, it doesn't matter if you're tired, you're not tired, your head is working, your head is not working. You throw the gate open, you get the tractor working, the workers start working, you work. You can't figure out a toisvis if your mind is somewhere else. Knock on wood, knock on head. Okay, the toisvis, but what the toisvis? You have to understand the question and the answer of the toisvis. I'm a little tired, doesn't matter, I'll learn it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. On the one hand, when you learn, you need the utmost menucha. You need the utmost restfulness to be in the frame of mind. You have to forget there's no worries in the world. You're not thinking about anything. You're not thinking that there's nothing exists in the world. Everything is good. You're right now in paradise. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now let's learn Tosfos. So, in the one hand, it's very stressful to get the motors going, to get into learning. On the other hand, once you're in it, it's very satisfying. That's his answer about Yisshachar. The second answer he gives, which is another interesting answer, is, and by the way, in the inside, he throws in also about remembering and forgetting, which is a beautiful thing. And the Rebbe brings this word as well. And the Gemara says that a person serves Hashem, they learn something and they repeat it 100 times. That's lo avoda. He's not serving Hashem. Avoda is he learns 101 times. The Alter Rebbe talks about it in chapter 15 in Tanya, because those days that was the thing, that they had no printed books, so anything they learned they reviewed 100 times. But that was the regular. But to do more than what they're trained and more than they're used to doing, that extra mile is very difficult, and that makes them Oved Elokim, the servant of God, because they're not used to doing it. If you're used to, you're from Yid, you live in Brooklyn, you do so that you're not an Oved Hashem, you're not serving Hashem. You know, you would have an itch on your hand and your head if you didn't put on film. Can't wait to finish putting on film so you can eat breakfast already. But that's not called a Oved Elokim. A Oved Elokim is that he does the extra mile, the thing that he's uncomfortable doing. So the malach, there's the malach that makes people forget things. He's called the samach mem. I'm sure you heard of the samach mem, the nasty guy. Samach mem. Samach mem together is 100. Ein shichcha lifnei chvisach v'decha. Higher than the Eibishter's kisa, there's no shichcha. Under there is. Samach mem is when you learn a thing 100 times. You learn 101 time. You got the matzasa tamim. You're not going to forget. You learn it 101 times. The Rebbe says this word. He also says this word here. And he says that that's the second shot in Menucha and Avdus. That you need to have, a Yid has to have both. Can't see, I'm just learning Torah. Has to be Torah and Avodas Hashem. Torah and Avodas Hashem. Obviously, Yisrael with another Yid, teaching another Yid, Avodas Atfila. Can't be, I'm just learning Torah, Machadash Chedushim Torah. It doesn't work that way. Yesshachar, he learns Torah, but he also doesn't Avodas Hashem. So if we look further in the Minchas Haluzer, if you look at the next page, he says like this. He says like this in Ois Gimel. Bazeh yunach mashakosov b'svarim ha'gedoshim ki Iyar asheteves ani Hashem Rofecha. V'lo zeu rak lefi shekosov Iyar rak b'yudecha. That's if Iyar is in one yud. Aval be'emes kois from Iyar b'shnei yud, and really write it with two yuds. V'chein koisim beget. V'choshin l'dei azois shein lichtav gitem b'Iyar. We're not even choshish for the opinion that you shouldn't write a get in Iyar. And we write it with two yud, and that's it. So what's going on? So he gives an answer. He doesn't explain his answer, and the Rebbe actually explains it very well. And I want to explain it in simple words and the way my wife explained it. If you look in the most Sidurim, at Hashem's name, they don't write Yud Hey Vav Hey. They write Yud Yud. And you're supposed to know that that's Hashem's name. What is that connection? What does Yud Yud have to do with Hashem's name? Hashem's name is Yud Hey Vav Hey. What does Yud Yud have to do with anything? What's Yud Yud? What's Yud Yud? The answer is very simple. When we say Ba'olam hazeh lo k'shani nichtav ani nikra, lo atzad lav k'shem shani nichtav ani nikra, then in this world Hashem says, my name is written Yud Kei Vav Kei, but that's not the way you call me. You say Baruch Atah Adonai lamdeini chukecha. You say Adnus, not Yud Kei Vav Kei. So it's we put together Yud Kei Vav Kei with Adnus, with the Shem Adnai. So if I should write it as like this, Yud Hey Vav Hey, and Adnus is Aleph, Daled, Nun, Yud. I don't know. If you could see, Yud Kei Vav Kei Adnai. The first letter is a Yud, and the last letter is a Yud. So because we're putting together Yud Kei Vav Kei and Adnai, so it's Yud Yud. The first Yud, it's a Rosh Hashanah, the first Yud of Yud Kei Vav Kei, and the last Yud of Adnai. So he says, that's a pshat, Ani Hashem Rofecha, with two Yudin, because that's the way we're working. And the Mashiach comes, we won't need to be healed. In Golus, we need to be healed. And in Golus, the way we say Hashem's name is not Yud Kei Vav Kei. We're not allowed to say Yud Kei Vav Kei. We say Adnus. So it's Shiluv of Yud Kei Vav Kei and Adnus. So Ani Hashem Rofecha with the two Yuds. I think it's brilliant. It's a brilliant teretz. Whoever gave it, and then incidentally, the Minchas Haluzer was machaven to it. Okay. And the Rebbe says it can say balabatish. We don't hear one yud, two yud. Ani Hashem Rofecha, Iyar. Doesn't matter, one yud. It always sounds the same. Okay, we went a little bit on a long trip to get to the thing that Iyar is Ani Hashem Rofecha, and now I'd like to get to the Rebbe Sicha. Time is short, so we'll try to do it quickly, and it's really sweet. The Rebbe says like this. The Pasuk says, Kol ha'machla shesamti b'mitzrayim lo yosim anecha k'ani Hashem Rofecha. All the diseases I put on the Egyptians, I will not place on you, because I am God who heals you. There's a very big difference, even though a doctor could heal, and the Torah says, but there is a very big difference. The Pasuk says, what's the difference? Lo yosim alecha. When a doctor heals you, you don't go to a doctor when you're feeling good. When you're sick, you go to a doctor and you pay him for healing you. The Eibishter's healing is that kol machla lo yosem alecha. To begin with, you don't get sick. You don't even know what kind of kindness the Eibishter did to you. similar to what the Rambam says. The Rambam says that if you follow my advice on how to eat and exercise, you'll never get sick. But what the chiddush here is a bigger chiddush. What if a person didn't exercise and eat healthy the way that Rambam says to do it, and he got sick? It was his fault. So the Rashi says, what does it mean? Kol maschla la'osam alecha k'ani Hashem afrecha im osim areu k'lo yusam. If you still got sick, it's as if you didn't get sick. What do you mean if you got sick? He got sick. He got sick. It's as if you didn't get sick. So the Marsov says, when a human being, there's always a little something left. It puts stitches, there's always a little line left. He took medication, there's always the side effects. The rest of life, he suffers a little bit this and that. There's always something. But when the Eibishter heals, it's as if it was never there. As if it doesn't exist, as if the illness was never there. He was never sick, as if the illness was never there. That's the chiddush of the Eibishter. We have this in the Gemara, an interesting thing. The Gemara says, for example, a woman, say two women. One woman said to her husband that we get married, and he says, on condition, I want a gorgeous woman. She says, I'm the most gorgeous woman, I have no woman. It turns out they get married, and there's a couple of women here and there. He didn't see it originally, so he comes. He says, "No, it's not right." So she says, "So I'm going to go to a doctor." She goes to a doctor, plastic surgery. I fix her up, like they used to say. What's it called? What was his name? That singer that jumped out of a window, killed himself. Jackson. Say, how does he pick his nose from a magazine? That was a joke. So she goes to a doctor and she picks every body part from a magazine and gewaldig, and she has no more movement. No, she's not Mekudeshes, because when she got married, she did have a mum. What happens? Another woman, she gets married and she makes a condition. She has no neder, no vows on her. He says, I don't want a woman from Shagas and she has vows. I want a clean woman. That's it. She says, no, I have no nedarim. It turns out she has 25 nedarim on her. He says, no, he tricked me. It's not a. So she goes to Rav and she's mata neder. The kiddushin is chal. Why? The Gemara says a doctor heals from today on. But when she got the kiddushin, she did have. She wasn't so gorgeous. She did have movement. But when the woman goes to the chochem and he takes away the neder, it's as if it retroactively was never there. So when a doctor heals, it's only from now on. But originally, a person was sick. And the Eibishter retroactively as if he wasn't sick. And what's the difference? The difference is that's why by a doctor, a little bit of erosion, something could stay. But the Eibishter, when he heals, there's nothing, mamish, nothing stays. Mamish, nothing stays. Even by human beings, sometimes the medicine turns out that it's megala that the person wasn't sick. But if he really was sick, it's only mekano lahaba. But the Eibishter heals a person as if there was nothing there. And that's the Inyan V'ani Hashem Rofecha of Iyar. Unfortunately, Erev Pesach passed away Rabbi Groner, the Rebbe's secretary. Many of us had a very closeness to Rabbi Groner. Many of us used to, throughout the years, went to Rabbi Groner. Every time we had a problem, we had the thing to write into the Rebbe. I told you a story that I went to Rabbi Groner to bring Maimed and Magvis, it's Tzedakah, and that was 2-3 months ago, and I told him I had a serious problem, and he said, so what are you coming to me? I said, well, I don't know, he always came to you and used to write to the Rebbe and used to give me the answer, so I'm doing the same thing here. So he said, what's your name, your wife's name? He wrote it down, and then he said, in your case, told me a few things. The Rebbe always told me, it didn't matter, the Rebbe always said, right away, tell the person, check Tefillin Mezuzah. And he gave me another few instructions. And he said, the Rebbe always said right away. I was like taken aback. When you're Rebbe, well, listen, he said that the Rebbe always told him. So I showed you, and if you remember in a sheet, I showed you, I sent it away ready to Shemesh. I went to check my Tefillin Mezuzah again. The guy said, where are you coming? You were just here, Chodesh Elul. So I said, oh, whatever, I'm checking my Tefillin Mezuzah. He called me up. It was early in the morning. He said, Mamish, you're a prophet? How did you know that you have a problem with the mezuzah? The aleph was peeled off. Wow. It's a mamash apela pli atzuma. So I'm telling it Nishmas Rabbi Groner, but I want to tell you a story that I heard from recently from Rabbi Groner. We had the schus that he came to Beis Menachem Mendel. It was probably one of his last fabrengens he did. He was here a couple of months ago in the library in Beis Menachem Mendel.
Yes.
For a fabrengen. It was a terrific fabrengen. It was a chock full of beautiful stories of the Rebbe. But here is a story that he told. He didn't tell it at that fabrengen. There's a video going around. This is a group of women that was there a couple of weeks ago, and they asked him for an inspirational story. And he said, I'm standing here and I remember a story. He said a woman came and she said that her husband was just diagnosed, Rahman al-Islam, with cancer. And he said what it was. And she asked for a bracha. So he wrote it down. He took down a piece of paper, a name, mother's name. She said, no. She just wants 2 words from the Rebbe, refuah shlema. If she can open the Rebbe's door, the Rebbe can just sit on his place, say 2 words, refuah shlema. Before Rabbi Groner could get a chance to do anything, she walked straight over to the Rebbe's door and she started knocking on the door. So Rabbi Groner gets a call in his office and he picks up the phone. The Rebbe's on the phone. The Rebbe says, who's knocking on my door? So he says that there's a woman, she wants, I should open the door and you should tell her 2 words, refuah shlema. So the Rebbe said, I'd like you should explain to this woman something. Tell her like this. Why is she coming to me? Does she think that I was trained as a medical professional? Do I know medicine? She's coming to me because she feels that I have the power to give blessing and advice. And if she feels that I have the power to give a divine blessing, and I say that now is not the time for people to come and visit me, so what point, how is that going to give her an extra blessing? And besides that, Rebbe said, why does she want me to give a blessing and a refuah shlema to her husband? Her husband is not sick. So why would I say refuah shlema for her husband when he's not sick? Rabbi Groner gave her the message. She came back home, told her husband, you're not sick. And they went back to the doctor. Told the doctor that there's no treatment, there's nothing. They found out that he's not sick. And the doctor started laughing. He said, what are you talking about? We did a series of tests. You have cancer. They said, Lubavitcher Rebbe said he refused to say 2 words of refuah shlema because he is not sick. They insisted, they run a whole series of tests again, and he was not sick. Turned out he was not sick. He was not sick. So you go figure what this means. I think it was worthwhile for this woman to run over and knock on the door. He was not sick. That's it. L'mafreya. It turns out he was not sick. He was not sick. That's the power of Chodesh Iyar. The power of Chodesh Iyar is Ani Hashem Rofecha. It's not the refuah of Abbas Adam, which is only from today going forward, but this is retroactive. The Rebbe says that we find that every month has a name, Nisan, Iyar, but in the Torah it doesn't have a name. It's Chodesh Rishon, Chodesh Hasheni, Shlishi, Revi'i, Chamishi. Why? Because according to the Torah, every month leads into the next month. That's why we find an interesting thing. Next week is Rosh Chodesh. So why did we do Shabbos Mavorchim this Shabbos? We could have done Shabbos Mavorchim this coming Shabbos. It is Rosh Chodesh. But because the blessing has to be from the previous Nisan, the avodas Hashem of Nisan gives koyach to Chodesh Iyar. And the same thing goes forward. What's the idea of Nisan? Nisan, the Eibush that took the Yidden out of Mitzrayim. Nisan is 2 nud. Nisan. Nigla aleim melech malchim lochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu gilalim, like the Agada says, Ani v'loi malach, ani v'loi sorav, ani v'loi shliach. And the Shalosh says that ani, which ani is that? I, not an angel. I, not a sorav. I, self. Which I, says the Shalosh, ani Hashem Rofecha. That's the ani. Ani Hashem Rofecha. So, totally out of the realm of nature. So that Nisan gives the koyach to Iyar, that Iyar should be a month that is healthy. To better understand this, the Rebbe says, is really, we have to understand that a Jewish person, the body and soul are connected. That when there is a physical ailment, there's also a spiritual ailment. That everyone said that doctors must realize when patients come to them. I hope there's a doctor on today. That when patients come to them, they cannot ignore the spiritual ailments. The Rambam says in the Shmoyne Parakim, and the Rambam also says in the Chazdeis, that Keshem sheyesh choili haguf kach yes choili hanefesh. That there is an ailment in the body and there's an ailment in the soul, and many times they're connected. You have to look not only at the disease, you have to look at the person and see if he has a spiritual ailment. The Rebbe says, I'll give you a simple example, said the Rebbe. If a person has a bad habit to eat or drink or smoke or whatever, he has terrible habits, right? So you tell him it's not healthy, it's not healthy, it's not healthy. But it's not helping. He comes back to the office and he's the same problem. So obviously you have to a little bit think about why is this person indulging in food? What's happening? Why is he running to food for comfort? Maybe there's something deeper. Maybe there's something he has to deal with. And when we go to the source of the problem on a spiritual level, we can heal it on a material level. And therefore, the Rebbe says that in general, a doctor has to look out also for the spiritual well-being of a patient, especially by Yid, that we know that everything that the Torah says is in heaven, and as secondary results in this world, the mitzvahs come out in this world. Shnai and Metalis is in that in heaven, but also in the mitzvah in this world. Kefil is in heaven, but it also comes down in this world. So same thing over here. There is, when a Jewish soul is sick, the body also takes ill. But when you heal the soul, that heals the body. That heals the body. A person has to be strong in his soul. Just like we spoke about this from Rabbi Iyer in the Kolya mission a month ago, when he was in Europe, when there was the epidemic of cholera. He wrote in a letter, the most important thing is that people should be besimcha. They should not be beitzovan. Because if a person is sluggish, and he's not happy, and he's not happy with himself, he's not happy with his spouse, he's not happy with his family, he's not getting along with himself, he's not getting along with his family, this person easily can get ill, and Chas v'shalom will have a hard time fighting off and fending off the disease. The way a person physically fends off the disease is not just by taking bottles and bottles of zinc and vitamin C. That's like someone said that the sewage system and the garbages in Borough Park and Flatbush is full of vitamin C and zinc. Who says the body is absorbing any of it? But obviously I'm not trying to go against the vitamins. The vitamins are a good thing. But when a person is full of lule teros chashashuya zavadete be'oni, that's the capital Tillim. We're saying this every day now. That's the capital Tillim Rabbi Iyer says to say in a time of Magef and the Rebbe's capital. The David HaMelech said, I don't know what I would do without Torah. I would have went in the time of my ailment, says David HaMelech. When a Yid is molech chayis, when his soul is healthy, the body is healthy. What's the connection of medicine to the time of Iyar? So the Rebbe, very simple. There is a Medrash Shmuel. It's not a Medrash actually. It's Reb Shmuel Diuzida, who was a student of the Arizal, who wrote a terrific sefer on the Pirkei Avos, and he writes, "Mikan maschil azman lischamim u'misoidim atayves agufnias." The world is getting warmer, and the bodily tayves are getting strong. V'yetzahore maschil ishtarer u'lizgaber. Yetzahore is starting to gain strength. U'masechte zu maleyet chunois. In other words, in Chodesh Iyar is a time where a person could easily get sick, spiritually and memela physically. When a person is happy and spiritually he's vibrant, it's very hard for him to get sick, and if he gets sick, he'll pull through, he'll plow through. But Iyar is when a person starts falling. The beach is calling. The Taivas Olam Haza is calling. So that's when a Yid has to be careful. That's when a Yid has to think about spiritual medicine. The Gemara says that when is it time to think about medicine? Men ha-Pesach had-Atzeres. So it's Chodesh Iyar we're talking about. Chodesh Iyar is Ani Hashem Rofecha. Because that's the time when we need healing. Chodesh Nisan, we don't need healing. Chodesh Nisan, every day, like we learned the Maamar the other day, every day is the holiness of Rish Chodesh itself. That's the only month, the whole month we don't say Tachran. When we don't say Tachran? We want Hashem to forgive us on Chodesh Nisan. Why wouldn't we say Tachran? We don't need to say Tachran. Because without asking, the Eibishter already forgives. And Adarabah, usually when we ask, based on how much we ask, that's how much the Eibishter forgives. It's much more than we can ask. We don't need to ask for forgiveness of Chodesh Nisan. So Chodesh Nisan, he doesn't get sick spiritually. Also, he doesn't. Chodesh Nisan, the Eibishter not only pulled him out begashmis from Mitzrayim, but beruchnius, he pulled him out of the Memsher Shari Tumah. It's the heart does not go sour in Chodesh Nisan. Like we learned in the Maamar over Pesach. So I think what the Rebbe is saying is basically like this: that Chodesh Nisan is like kol machla lo yosem alecha kipshute. That it's not possible spiritually to get sick. Physically, he's not going to get sick when he if he's reliving in a true way Yetzias Mitzrayim, which that's what I used to do. We celebrate Pesach. It's not something that happened thousands of years ago. We're living now. Now we're coming a ben choyre ein lecha bei choyre elomisha oisik b'toyre. Now we're becoming free human beings. Choyre me yetzer hara. We're becoming free of our yetzer hara. So when we come, it's not shaykh. It's not possible. It's not possible to become sour on Chodesh Nisan. But what happens on Chodesh Iyar? He could get sick on Chodesh Iyar, but the healing of the power of Nisan makes that Iyar, he shouldn't get sick in Iyar. And if Chas v'Shalom there is an Nisayan, it's ki'ilu nothing happened. Retroactively he is healed. And therefore Nisan gives the koyach to Chodesh Iyar. That even though Chodesh Iyar is a time when the world is warming up, and the Gashmi is, the Tev is getting strong, and the trees are starting to give out fruits and leaves and flowers, and it's starting to get warm and so on. And therefore Baruch Nis, it gets a little more challenging. So in Nisan it's the Ani Hashem Rofecha. To begin with, there's no disease, but in Iyar there's a salke daitach that a person could get spiritually ill, and memela also by a Jew that will physically affect him. Chas v'sholem v'chaz v'cholila. Especially in a time when there is a pandemic in the world, and a Yid has to be strong spiritually and happy with himself and content. And memela, he will fend off any germ. And if chas v'sholem there is something, it's ki'ilu loy husam klal. So that is the idea of Chodesh Iyar, that even though it could be that Chas v'Shalom there should be an element spiritual and then also a physical. That's why Chodesh Iyar comes says no. Ani Hashem Rofecha. Chodesh Nisan gives the koyach to Chodesh Iyar to begin with. He shouldn't get sick, and if Chas v'Shalom there's anything that he stumbles with, that it should be healed and retroactively as if he wasn't sick to begin with. That's the koyach of Chodesh Iyar. Ani Hashem Rofecha. Now we're in the week which is between Chodesh Iyar and between Chodesh Nisan and Chodesh Iyar. We did already Shabbos Mavorchim. The Shabbos we already give the bracha and the koyach of Chodesh Nisan to Iyar. This Shabbos is going to be actual Chodesh Iyar, and this week where our job is to bring the koyach of Chodesh Nisan into Chodesh Iyar. Bottom line is we have to know that a Jew, in order to physically be healthy, we also have to spiritually be healthy. When our neshama will be content, our bodies will physically be healthier. And therefore, that's what we have to pay attention in Chodesh Iyar. Chodesh Iyar has that special koyach of Ani Hashem Rofecha, like not like the healing of a bus of Adam that's only going forward but not backwards, and therefore always leaves over a little residue of something. It leaves a roshim. But the healing of the Eibishter is retroactive and leaves no roshim at all. That the Eibishter should help that every one of us, whichever spiritual ailments we might have, that we're totally healed, retroactively healed, and there is zero roshim, and therefore we are totally happy with, we're whole with ourselves, and we're content. And Memela, from the Ruchnis dike health will come the Gashmis dike health, and Memela, when we will be healthy, we will bring health and salvation to all the people around us. Amir Hashem. The Eibishter shall help that this chodesh should be a chodesh of healing. This chodesh should bring healing to the Klal Yisrael, and this chodesh, Ani Hashem Rofecha, should bring healing to the whole world.
Amen.
As I said this morning, this Shabbos is doch Tazriya Metzoida. So this doch Chivre de Rabbi, that the Metzoiras, we spoke about this morning, Eibishter help on bottom line, that we should be zoichet to the healing, the tshuva is maybe the full goylam and geula loylam, that we should be zoichet the ultimate healing bevias Mashiach Tzidkenu.
Amen.
So, Rabbi,
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.
Rabbi Jacob, in his opening, Rabbi Jacobson today in the opening of the Kinesteire, said his father got a stroke between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So on Erev Yom Kippur he went to get lekach, and the Rebbe gave him another piece, not JJ, not YY, his brother Simon. The Rebbe gave him a piece of lekach and told him to give to his father, and then the Rebbe said, also told him if he finishes shlichus, that's it. So he went to the hospital and told his father that the Rebbe gave him a piece of lekach and you should finish the shlichus over here. And after Yom Kippur, Chadakov came to visit him. And he's like, if you finish your shlichus, you could go home. And Taken, next day he went home. So he elaborated on that. What does it mean? That he was sick or he wasn't sick? What happened over here? Like the Rebbe took the Chatchila, I said, no, you have a shlichus somewhere. So happen to be like, make believe you're sick and do what you have to do over there. You finish your shlichus, go out. You have nothing to do here anymore.
Wow, that's very good. That's Tani Hashem Rofecha.
If you go on this kinesteira.com, so you have the list of everybody who spoke. So he's the first one. It's amazing how we elaborate on it.
Very nice, very nice, very nice.
Rabbi Vilishansky from Tzfas was speaking about shlichus. If shlichus shalom k'moiso, why can you put in for me? Why I have to do it? You know how the Rebbe explained. Amazing.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Okay. They did today the 770 Kinus Torah.
I'm saying they took me a whole half noon to listen to it. It's amazing.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. And the morning you did art Kinus Torah, so together you did a whole day. When did you have time to breathe? Okay, very good.
Now I'm back in this Canada and I don't want to go out to work.
Very good.
Shmulik, how many people was there? Shmulik, how many people was in 770?
None. It's all online. It's all over the world. People listen from all over the world. Online. Like now here. So more people in the kinos than if it would be only in 770.
Wow.
The 770 went. There's Rabbonim.
Okay, got to know the hutch.
They don't have a lot of books, so they could listen to the kids there now. So 770 went to different houses around the world now. Think about it. It's amazing.
Very nice. Very nice.
Zoach, you enjoyed the shiur?
Yeah,
Pinchas Elio.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the Chazal that say Hayav la'alot et atzmo ki yasam miMisraim takes on a whole new level, because a person is truly thinking that he's going out. It must have some type of power to take him out of any type of sickness that's connected with Mitzrayim.
Yeah.
So it's a whole beautiful idea. That's not just, an idea of just going out, but it has to do with it, more of it going out with what's inside of him.
Right.
to go out.
Based on what the Rebbe says, when he goes out Beruchnis, he goes out also Begashmis.
Yes. Right. Beautiful.
Wow.
Okay. No. So Mitzvah Hashem will tomorrow night he'll be Rabbi Learner, and Mitzvah Hashem we're going to learn Tuesday night our regular shir in Gemara. Wednesday night we're learning the Halacha. We'll talk about this. I have a new machshav about doing something about Iyun Tefillah. And this week is also a special day. There's Koyach Nissen, when the Rebbe spoke about Tut Alts was again to bring a Mashiach Tzedkenu. So that's special this week. And in Mitzvah Hashem next week we have Beis Iyar, the Yomledus of the Rebbe Marash, Tiferes Shabbat Tiferes. So we have to continue the Farbringen of Achin and Shal Pesach and the Soirus of Mashiach, and we can't forget about it. We have to live with it. I la da da my la da da my la da 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 da. I la 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 da da da. I la da da, I la da da, I la 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 da da. Hey 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 la 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 da da. My la da da, I la da da, my la 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 da. Hey 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 la 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 la.
When our library was in ballpark, Yezayde Alav Shalom went up for bringing. And he was singing this thing. It was after L'chaim. Oh, he went out. I saw it on YouTube. I have to remember where, and maybe I'll send it to you.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
It was unbelievable. They went out of the cave.
Yeah, did it. Yeah, did it. Yeah, did it. Yeah, did it. I did it. I did it. Yeah, did it. I la did it. I la let it I did it. Hey, la did it. I la did it. I la did it. I did it. I did it. My la did it. I la did it. I did it. I did it. I la did it. I la did it. I la did it. I did it. I
Don't forget to do Sfira Seimer.
Yes.
Yes.
Remember, how much was כי בשמחת ציונו ושלום טובלות הערים והגבוס יצלו בני חמרינו וחלצי הסודאים חוכב שמחת ציונו ושלום טובלות הערים והגבוס יצלו בני חמרינו Shmuel, good Tanakh. Ari, thank you for joining us. Sazon, thank you for joining us. Rabbi Yochanan, Yeshshכר for joining us. A good Tanakh. Peretz, a good Tanakh. David, a good Tanakh. And everyone else that I don't see you, a good Tanakh. And Yeshshכר for joining us.
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Beautiful. Terrific. Thank you.
Bye-bye.